Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're doing a deep dive into something that, honestly, used to just be about padlocks and brass keys. But man, has it changed. It's totally transformed into the digital nervous system of modern manufacturing. So if you're looking to understand how industrial security actually works on the ground today, you are in exactly the right place. We are talking all about factory access control and security software. Let's get right into it. Okay, I want you to picture this. It's 5:40 a.m. at a massive manufacturing facility. The early morning shift change is just chaotic, right? The night shift is completely exhausted and heading out the door. A super important contractor just pulled up to fix a busted packaging line, and meanwhile, there's a delivery truck just idling out at the gate. And right in the middle of all this movement, you've got a really stressed out production manager demanding to know why the line is actually still down.
In that exact moment of absolute rush and urgency, you have to ask yourself, who is actually in your factory right now? Honestly, if your entry process is weak during this morning rush, it instantly becomes a massive safety risk, a glaring audit gap, or just a really expensive production delay. The wrong person could wander into a restricted zone, or maybe a temporary badge stayed active for a contractor who finished their job last week. Or worse, a visitor totally skips their safety induction altogether.
So let's really dive into this, because the whole landscape of risk, it's completely shifted. Manufacturing facilities are these highly connected ecosystems now. And looking at recent findings from the Verizon 2025 Data Breach Investigations Report in ENIS, it's pretty clear. Severe intrusion and application attacks are a huge deal for manufacturers. Basically, physical entry, connected systems, and digital identity have to be managed together. Physical and digital risk just can't be treated as separate topics anymore. They're literally two sides of the exact same coin.
To unpack all of this, here's our roadmap for today. We'll look at how this is way more than just opening doors. Define the core layers of access control. Check out key features specifically for factories. Talk about integrating security with daily operations. And finally, go over how to evaluate software providers.
All right, starting off with Section 1, more than opening doors, looking at the paradigm shift in factory security.
There has been this massive shift. Access control is now the absolute heartbeat of plant operations, compliance, and emergency readiness. Just imagine the mental load on a busy supervisor. They're constantly having to wonder, who can actually enter this area? During what specific hours? Wait, who approved this? Did they finish their safety steps? And how long are they even allowed to be in there? A solid security software takes all that heavy guesswork right off their plate. It lets teams make those lightning-fast, consistent decisions without needing a crystal ball, even when shift changes get incredibly chaotic.
Let's move smoothly into Section 2, the core of access control, where we'll define the system and its layers.
You see, security tech isn't just some standalone tool sitting off in a silo somewhere. It's baked right into the site's daily operating rhythm. So let's set a shared baseline here. What exactly are we talking about? Well, access control software is basically the connective tissue between people and permissions. It takes those rules and actively applies them to physical barriers, doors, turnstiles, elevators, gates, you name it, intelligently managing how the workflow flows while keeping the really restricted zones totally locked down.
Now, what's actually really interesting about this is that a truly controlled site relies on three tightly interlocked layers. First up, you have the credential. That's your physical or digital key, like a badge or a PIN. Step 2 applies the permissions, which is the logic dictating things like role, department, or shift limits. And Step 3 is the monitoring. That's your dashboards and your alerts. Because look, this system shouldn't just pop a door open. It needs to tell you exactly why an entry was allowed, denied, or escalated.
And keep in mind, credentials are definitely not one size fits all. Think about a high-throughput factory entrance. You need incredibly fast scanning. In fact, modern RFID can process an entry in under a second, which is wild. So badges are perfect there. But what if you've got a super sensitive R&D lab? You might need strong biometric checks to absolutely prevent badge sharing. Mobile credentials, awesome for cutting down on plastic waste. PINs, great for those low-risk internal doors. The right choice completely depends on your specific risk level, worker volume, and even your hygiene needs.
All right, jumping into Section 3, key features for factories, covering movement, urgency, and exceptions.
We have to remember, a factory is not just a standard office building that happens to have forklifts. There's a massive amount of movement and urgency. Because of this, real-time monitoring is an absolute must. Imagine this alert pops up. It shows a refrigeration tech trying to open a door right near a highly sensitive cleanroom line. Because the software flags it in real time, security can step in immediately and stop the contractor before they contaminate the zone.
Boom! You just prevented a catastrophic line shutdown. That is the power of instant visibility.
And that right there is exactly why multi-zone access configuration is absolutely crucial. Factories have incredibly diverse environments under one roof. A loud, bustling loading bay and a hazardous chemical storage area, they simply cannot share the same entry rules. The logic for a clean room has to be radically different from the rules for the warehouse. Advanced software lets you set up these sophisticated, zone-by-zone rules that actually respect those unique industrial hazards.
Next up, Section 4, Integrating Security and Operations, focusing on entry control that really understands site workflows.
Security shouldn't just sit on the outside looking in. It has to breathe and flex with how your factory actually runs. Facilities operate under intense safety and audit standards. You need hard proof, not just a written policy. Just look at the direct comparison here. When an incident or an audit hits, paper logs turn the whole process into slow, painful detective work, unless your security guard happens to be Sherlock Holmes. You're always missing key details. But digital records, they give you real-time tracking, proving exactly who was where and when. You're literally audit-ready in a matter of minutes.
And this brilliantly illustrates what happens when access control ties directly into shift scheduling. An operator's badge automatically works perfectly for their assigned Monday night shift, but intelligently locks them out if they try to come in on a Tuesday day shift. Temps only get access for their strictly assigned hours. This keeps all the facility rules completely up to date without anyone needing to do constant manual edits in the background. Plus, it ties into emergency protocols, giving you real-time muster reports so you account for absolutely everyone during a fire or a spill.
And finally, Section 5. Evaluating software providers and how to choose the right partner for your industrial realities.
Look, flashy features are wonderful, but the company standing behind the platform matters just as much. When you're looking at vendors, you really have to ask, do they actually understand deep industrial workflows? A generic office tool is going to fall totally flat in a loud environment with strict PPE rules and complex contractor tasks. You need a platform that scales quietly across multiple plants, without a total rebuild every time something changes. You also need to verify their data encryption, and for sure, make sure their support services are rock solid, because if a door system goes down, it can literally disrupt your entire production.
So, as we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with one really provocative question to chew on. Is your access control just locking doors, or is it actively helping you run your plant? Modern factory access software is really all about letting the right people move confidently while totally eliminating the risks in your blind spots. When it's done right, it's a calmer, faster, and significantly safer way to run your operations. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this huge shift in industrial security. Keep learning, keep optimizing, and I will see you in the next explainer.